focus, determination, passion, stamina, and the will to win. The end result, the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. Extreme Motorsports brings you the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, brought to you by Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment, and by Proforma, Elite Texas Graphics, live Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
The penultimate round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series is live on Apex Racing TV. Welcome to the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari, also known as Imola, and it's located in Italy, in Southern Europe, of course. This is, like we said, the penultimate round of a championship that could be wrapped up today for one of our two classes, and that's the GS class. Will Aeronom be crowned with yet another championship to his name? We will wait and find out in today's coverage. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand at the commentary booth alongside Marco Barbanera. Now, Marco, you are on commentary and production today, and welcome back to the series because it's been a few months for you.
Absolutely, Jonathan. It has been quite some time. I did the Homestead round, was it in, I think, October of last year, November of last year, so it's been basically 1 year since I did this series, and of course, what better track to be than Imola, a track that I personally been at a few years ago, 2002. It was a bit different, but still maintains a lot of that spirit that makes it such a fun, interesting racetrack.
And it's a racetrack like we see on screen, 4.8 kilometers long, and it's a circuit, of course, that I quite enjoyed here when I was racing the F3 in the official series quite a few months ago, and it does promote some good racing battles because, you know, you got a brilliant opportunity for overtaking with that long main straight now compared to what they had it 20 years ago. You've got some nice undulating parts of the racetrack through the middle sector, and Arco Minerale is one of the toughest corners, I think, in all of motorsport.
I've seen plenty of crashes there over the years, and plenty of drivers losing control sideways. It's so difficult. Not only one of the best corners in the world, but also my favorite named corner in all of the world, Acque Minerali. What an Italian name for that corner.
Exactly. So we'll bring you our track guide for today's event as usual, and we'll look at the championship standings on the other side of this.
Welcome, everyone, to Autodrome Enzo e Dino Ferrari, or as it's commonly known as Imola, located near the town of Imola right here in Italy. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today in the Ford Mustang around this very fast and challenging 3-mile road course. The first motorsports event actually took place here in 1954, and the first Formula One race was held in 1963 and was won by Jim Clark in his Lotus. This course is a beauty and one of the few courses in the world that runs counterclockwise. Well, let's begin our track guide around this 3-mile road course as we get up through the gears and start heading down this long, fast front straightaway. As we come around turn 16 here, see all the pit areas on the right, the grandstands on the left. Coming out of the final corner there, we head down into turn 1, which is going to lead us to Tamburello. Turns 2, 3, and 4 as we get down through the gears. Drivers will be entering this section at about 135, 140 mile an hour. Got to be real careful coming down through the gears into this section. Want to get a good launch out of 4 there. Back up through the gears for this short straightaway. Bring us into Variante Villeneuve. Turns 5 and 6. Left-hander, tap the brake. Bring it back across the curb out of 6. Get a good wide exit to get some speed up into Tosa here. Turn 7. This is a late apexing corner. Want to get that nose back down to the bottom. Open that wheel up. Get back to throttle. To climb the first hill here at Imola. One of my favorite turns up here. Piratella, turn 8. Fast left-hander. Back down into the gear. Up that wide exit there to get the speed to come back down the hill into a Cuban rally. Turns 9 and 10. Out of 9, down through the gears, 2nd through 10. And our 2nd hill climb here at Imola. This will bring us to turns 11 and 12, Variante Alta. Very tight chicane, probably the tightest, slowest corner on the track. Through 11, back out through 12, back to throttle. Get this quick launch to come down this fast winding straightaway that brings us to Ravazza. We approach turn 13 under the walkway, heading down into Ravazza, heavy braking zone, back down into 2nd gear. That nice smooth exit up through the gears into 3rd, roll center here, and then slowly back to throttle out of turn 15 to head up this front straightaway. Want to get some good speed here. Great overtaking opportunity on this front straightaway as we come out of 16 and out of the final corner, turn 17, to head to finish line. Well, there's your track guide for Imola. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed our track guide for the penultimate round of season 15. Now, qualifying, which is presented by Performer Elite Texas Graphics, has just concluded here, but we'll take a look at the championship standings before we look at the grid. So, first up would be our GS class, of course. Now, GS Pro, as we know, Marco, can be wrapped up today with Ironom taking his 8th win out of 8 this season. He's just ever so impressive, isn't he?
He is absolutely fantastic as I frantically try to get the standings on the screen. But I remember him. Basically, I started following the series when I started my Apex job a few years ago, finally. And I remember him being at the top of the timing at the end of each race. And not only that, but also he's so clean. He racks up so few incident points. It's absolutely mind-blowing what he's able to do. And on the verge of another title is Zero. And like you say, tonight it could be the night.
Exactly, it could be it here at Imola. Now, he has capped out his bonus points, so he can't receive any more. You can only receive 12 per season, so he's already done that with a few rounds to go. If we flick over the GS Open, which will be our open class drivers. Now, if you're new to the series, you can identify that by the lighter colored blue, and there it is on screen. So it's slightly lighter colored on our overlay. Lucas Ford with a few points over Cameron Martineau and Derek Holland. It's very close between those 3 for the top. Now, that can't be wrapped up here today, but Lucas Ford can have one hand on the trophy if he can pull off a good result for Lucas Racing. Then we switch over to the ST Pro class. Now, this is where it's tight, Marco. This is Robert Hartley, well, Bobby Child on 12,000 points. Goodness me, I really hope that was true, Bobby Charles, but Bobby Charles is not on. That's giving me a chuckle. Bobby Childs is not on 12,000 points, although I'll tell you what, Bobby Childs, your biggest fan, Marco, will be proud that you somehow swing that overlay up for him.
I have no idea how that made through there, but yeah, I think there's something mildly wrong with that graphic.
Well, everybody behind is accurate. Let me tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. So Robert Hartley, one of the top iRacers in the world over the past 10 years, is leading the championship over Mike Dam. Now, remember, both of these drivers switched from the Mustang to the MX5 this season. So let's see if the Canadian of Mike Dam can pip Robert Hartley this race. But don't leave out DJ Alessandrini or Travis Schwenke. They are ever quick. They won races in the MX5. And the championship could swing their way if anything goes wrong for Hartley or Dam. Eric Violet, of course, too, is a driver who has yet to win a race for season 15 this time out. And he hasn't won in a few seasons for D2D Esports. So if he wants to claim some good points or even match the 12,000 points of Bobby Childs, he'll have to achieve a good result here today from Imola. Then we switch over to the open class, Marco. And again, Elvis Rankin. Believe it or not, Marco, only 12 years old.
Wow. That's just about the age I started doing some online racing in the days of Grand Prix Legends. I certainly was not at the top of the table of any kind of championship.
So those are the championships there. Now, Elvis Rankin's impressed us this season because he has kept it close between the top of the pro class standings. So today and in a couple of weeks' time for our final round at Daytona, it'll be ever interesting to find out whether or not Elvis Rankin can claim a win. But there you see, Marco, it's a very short pace lap here around Imola. Now we're going to start through the middle of the lap. Here's the grid on screen. And Aeronom, yet again, with pole position. I've heard that he practices less and less for these rounds now, just because his main competition have made the switch to the MX5.
Well, good for him. I mean, if he's this good with less practice, maybe better for the competition. But let's see. Of course, start is going to be important. Tough track to pass. I think that it's going to be interesting when the leaders catch the MX5s. It's going to be disruptive for both battles, and that could be, apart from the pit stops, where both races will be decided, because it's a very, very narrow racetrack, this one in Imola.
Yeah, and that's what I love about Imola, of course, too. We have plenty of overtaking spots, despite it being such a narrow circuit. The Tamburello is probably the best one, I'd say. Anywhere else, the Ravazza curves can be a tough one, too.
Yeah, Rivazza also, it's tough, especially with these cars, especially with the Mustang, I'd say, but also with the MX5. As the grid rolls through your screen, and you will see, of course, live decision from the stewards, hopefully, during the race. When you go to Rivazza Uno, your car is such in a dynamic state, the track goes down the hill, basically, and then that braking area comes at you so quick, and how many times drivers go there, say, okay, I have plenty of space to stop the car, and then all of a sudden you missed your braking marker, and if you're alone, you just go straight. You just have to be careful because there are some, buildings, people living there. But most of the times you are so close to your opponents, it could be a very, very messy moment there for you and for your rivals.
Yeah, most certainly. That downhill braking zone is ever so tough, we know, at the Ravazza curves. But now we're about to begin the pace lap. A couple of cars there. I think that's the 54 of Rankin getting a bit excited here to start this race. He's already pulling away. Now here is this brilliant shot of the drivers ready to begin. It's going to be 60 minutes of action. Our final 60-minute race for the season. And if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, Mike Dam will start from 4th. He's currently listed as 5th because Peyton's just edged the nose out of him. But Mike Dam will start from 4th. Won't be close to Robert Hartley in the lead. So look out for that once we head to the ST start. But it's going to be ever quick here because Aeronom's about to floor it. Hope you're enjoying all the action all season on Apex Racing TV. And we'll bring you all the action of not only the GT Championship for Extreme Motorsports, but we'll also bring you the final round in a couple of weeks' time from Daytona. But here's Aeronom, the Estonian. He could wrap up the championship today, and this start's ever critical for him, though. He will floor it. And, well, he's keeping it a long time, isn't he, here? He crosses the line. He has to go green now. He's crossed the start-finish line. And there's the green flag right now for Aeronom. And they begin 60 minutes of racing. Look how close it is with Tyler Shiflett and Aeronom. We haven't seen Shiflett lead many laps this season, but Aeronom will lead the field away. And now we switch over to the beginning of our ST class. They're going to have to begin the race because that start line is located in just a few meters' time. How tough is this, Marco, for the start right now? These drivers are leaving it ever so late. Hartley's going to be under attack.
I don't know why people decided that it was a good idea to put the start-finish line just at the position of the kink on the start-finish line. I mean, I should know because they are Italian like me, but we are not known for sometimes making things the right way, a bit strange. But yeah, the start-finish line is there at the kink, and so drivers are a bit confused, of course, when to start and when not to start. But the MX-5, close as ever, look at this beautiful, colorful field as they go through Villeneuve for the first time.
And it's Hartley from Schwenke, from Allen, from Dam. So it's unchanged for your top four. Now, Shiflett is leading your overall GS Pro class. So Tyler Shiflett's found his way past Aeronom as they run out of Acqua Minerale and on towards the Variante Alta. Now, I'm not sure where we got that move done. It looked like possibly at Tosa Corner or maybe even Villeneuve.
Trying to catch where that happened, as in the meantime Nom is losing another position to Clint Vigus, so maybe not the start he was hoping for. I would say the pressure, but he doesn't feel pressure, I don't know, you know. But you know, he could clinch the title today, so maybe he's taking it a bit easier as they are about to finish the first lap. 1 hour race, of course, one pit stop expected from drivers in both classes.
Yeah, so for Aeronom, he did make that mistake over the Variante Alta curves, which those curves there are ever so tough. So now here's the move for the lead. So what's happening Aeronom? Again, over the curbs at Villeneuve. And it's again another curb that's cost him. I think he just has a lack of practice right now, Marco, because we haven't seen these mistakes from Aeronom anytime soon. But he does find a way back past Clint Vigus, heading into the Tamburello.
So one back for Aeronom. Top 3 already pulling away. Well, the leader, Tyler Shift, of course, using this little bit of a battle between Nom and Vigus, is able to pull away from second and third, and then behind them Jacobs and Martino in P5. And at the same time, the MX-5 are finishing their first lap, and of course, being the MX-5s, ever so close between all of the participants here. Hartley, Schwenke, Allen, Dam, and Beasley, your top 5.
Jacob Beasley, that's impressive that he's in your top 5 for the moment. Now, that looks like David Payton behind in the 64, having a peek up the inside of Villeneuve, but he wasn't able to make a way past the blue-rimmed fluoro green MX-5 of Jacob Beasley here, heading into the next left-hander. I love this corner, Marco, because you can... I don't condone dive bombing, but if you're going to do it, it's a brilliant braking zone to do it in because it's uphill.
Yes, and usually one of the best passing spots. It is unfortunate that it is located after such a short straight, because when you come out of Villeneuve, you go there, it's not a long run. But yeah, certainly a good place to go for maybe an aggressive move. A place where you don't want to go for a move is here, of course. But we still see drivers after all these years still trying to make it happen, and it usually doesn't work. And now the train of MX-5s up into the Variante Alta once again, with Hartley still leading. A beautiful Excite iRacing livery. Aeronom, fastest lap of the race, and he's closed the gap to Tyler Shiflett.
Yep, that's Aeronom on the top left-hand side of the screen going purple. And wow, he's got an extremely good run here on Tyler Shiflett for the lead. We're not expecting pit stops until around 25 minutes into the event. So Aeronom, unless he wants to look at that rear end of Tyler Shiflett for the next 20 minutes, he's going to have to get this move done ASAP. Shiflett with a dab of the brakes through the exit. That's a huge mistake, and he's going to have to go on the defensive here in comparison to the Estonian. One of our few Europeans in this championship for season 15 is Aeronom. Now look at that. Clint Vigus is looking racy.
Yeah, fantastic fight for the lead. The 3 Ford Mustangs, they are all together. And despite this, still keeping a decent gap over 4th position. This is what you usually see in the official series as well of the Mustang. Well, now there's no more Grand Touring Cup. They have been put into the production car challenge. But usually the Mustang, despite being so high-powered, they tend to do this kind of train racing. And now we have a fantastic trio at the front of the pack. Shiflett has been able to keep the position over Nom and Vigus.
those were the killer curbs at the Variante Alta, which, like I said, Marco, when I raced the F3 around here, I mean, it wasn't even skill. It was like luck just trying to get the car over the curb.
You can get that part of the track wrong. Oh, a little bit of a bump there from Vigus to Nom. Let's see. View from the rear. Yeah, now a little bit of a gap created. I mean, you can get it wrong on so many levels in that corner, that chicane. You could either overdrive on the curb, or you can cut the chicane, or you can go a bit too wide on the exit and get not only enough track, but also a nice slowdown for your troubles. And that little bit of contact there maybe put Vigus in a little bit off his rhythm, as Nom is going for the lead, but good defending on the inside from Shiflet. So Vigus lost a little bit of his rhythm probably, and now of course have to work to get back. It shouldn't be too difficult for him, but you have to avoid damage as much as possible, because you want top performance out of your car all race long, especially since we are only 6 minutes, almost 7 in.
Yeah, now the trouble here is, for Aeronom, is that Shiflet's figured out the exit of Villeneuve, so he may not have a good shot here at passing Tyler. We ride on board with the Estonian. Now we're switching over to Shiflet here, the leader, so let's ride on board with him. Let's have a watch. So Marco, obviously we're not expecting Aeronom to make the move into Acco Minerale, otherwise, I mean, he's too smart for that. So again, how would you do it now if you're Aeronom? Just take your time, don't overdrive the car, right? Just try and use as much of the slipstream as possible. I think he's got a shot here into the Ravazza curves.
Let's see, he needs to be super close, but of course he also has to worry about Vigus right behind him. Oh, very deep in the brakes there. They jump on those curbs very hard. The Mustang can surely handle it, even though this is a car with road tires, if memory serves me right, so you need to be careful. You cannot really have the same level of grip as in proper race-worthy tires. Situation stays the same. Good defending from Shiflet. The gap was not very big. Was very big, so I mean, was not that small, so he was able to come into the Rivazza corners without any kind of trouble. Looking on the track map, we still have, I'd say, around half of the racetrack between the leaders of the GS and the back end of the Street Tuner, as once again on the outside is Nom, on the inside is Shiflet.
Wow, this could be an insane pass for the lead. Still alongside each other are Shiflet and Nom here for your overall lead at Imola. Now Nom's going to have to concede and go on the defensive here on Clint Vigus. Thrilling racing here in the opening laps as Vigus backs out through Villeneuve. Shiflet, like we know, is able to nail this corner quite well, so they're going to have to form up yet again. Wow, brilliant racing there, Marco, and they all remain in the same positions. How about Vigus poking a nose up the inside? He could find his way past our championship leader.
Vigus with a little bit of a slide coming out of Tosa. Therefore, he lost that bit of momentum that was needed to complete the pass, because I think he had Nom there if it wasn't for that little bit of a sideways moment. And all of a sudden now it's Shiflet having a little bit of respite from the attacks of his two rivals as they go into Acque Minerali once again, as we are about to hit the 10-minute mark. I mean, this could go in a lot of ways. Of course, like I said earlier, I think it's going to be even more important when these guys will catch the MX-5 train, the ST train. That will be of course important, because you will need to have not only the speed but the racecraft and the collaboration, of course, from the slower class to make your way through the traffic and hopefully keep your position, or if you are no more Vigus, gain positions.
Now, this is thrilling racing so far. We haven't seen a more entertaining start to our GS class all season. So if you're going to vote for the best moments for GS for season 15, this is it so far. And if this carries on into Daytona, I can't wait to see how Shiflet and Vigus take it to Aeronom himself. The two teammates of Tyler Shiflet and Clint Vigus helping each other here, trying to get rid of the Estonian as much as possible. They don't want him to win. Here's round two with Aeronom around the outside. He's late on the brakes. I tell you what, Aeronom, but he may not have the drive coming out of the Tamburello. Ooh. Slight bit of contact between the two there, but it looks like Aeronom could have a nose ahead here.
Here comes Clint Vigus then, trying to well, he thought better of it, of course. They didn't want to make contact or slow down his teammate too much, but Nom, after a little bit of trial and tribulation, he was able to get back into the lead. Now, of course, they will need to sort themselves out. Shiflet and Vigus decide between themselves who's going to have the first shot, trying to go and catch Nom and maybe try to take the lead away from him. But of course, we've seen it these many times. Jonathan, of course, when Nom gets to the lead, it's tough to get it away from him.
Yeah, I mean, this could be the last we see of this battle, unfortunately. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, but you never know in this race as we watch Robert Hartley. Oh, I tell you what, these two are still in the scrap of the lead. Oh, Hartley's off the racetrack. That's a broadcaster's curse, Marco. I blame that on you as soon as you switch to him.
I am the master of curses on my broadcasting, and sadly, this was bad for Robert, because as soon as I jumped on board with the guy behind him, now the new leader, Mike Dam, he went wide coming out of the chicane there, and now from first down to fourth is Robert Hartley. So a big mistake. Let's see if we can catch a replay of that.
Here it is. We go. So talk us through this. Robert Hartley's gone deep on the brakes?
Yeah, oh, those speed bumps there, they are terrible. And then he decided to take evasive action because I think he was afraid of a dangerous rejoin, so that was smart driving on his part. But of course, that cost him, like I said, 3 positions down to fourth, the pole sitter. Now, finding himself at the back of this train that has made quite a bit of a gap over 5th place Jacob Beasley, who's in a bit of a lonely spot right now. He's 4 seconds behind Robert Hartley and 3 seconds in front of Lidl McMurphy. So he's enjoying the... admittedly, I'm a little bit biased, but this is, apart from where I live, my favorite part of Italy. So enjoying the beautiful scenery of Emilia-Romagna.
Well, we promise you, ladies and gentlemen, over the next 45 minutes, when this action dies down, we will extract as much knowledge on this racetrack from Marco Balbonero himself. But, Marco, these guys need to stop racing, man. I've lost my voice, and I may not be able to finish this broadcast at the moment. I can hear my voice croaking. It's just that bad at the moment. That good, sorry, I should say, the racing. But I wasn't expecting to lose my voice 10 minutes into the event.
A reminder that we need your voice, because otherwise the neighbors will call the police on me, being that it's almost 3 in the morning here in Italy.
Oh man, I can't even laugh. I lost my voice, but I found that funny. Jeff Jacobs here on screen, right ahead of, is that Cameron Martineau leading our open standings? And look how brilliant that livery is by Cameron Martineau. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's unique. I quite like it. It's quite unique to me.
Commentator's curse again. I'm sorry, Jacob.
No.
And he's wrecked coming out of Villeneuve. Big damage to that car, and he was all alone, so I would imagine a mistake on his own part. Oh, he's around again, and that is a terrible spot. And he smartly toes back, because when you try to get back on the track from Tosa, it's never good. So let's see. Coming into Villeneuve. Oh, sideways.
Lift
no,
off
he didn't hit it. Yeah, and big hit. That is going to be the end of his race, sadly.
To me, that looked like lift-off oversteer to Marco Balbonero. Marco, because Jacob Beasley there, unfortunately, he had his best result of the season so far in 5th. I was so impressed by it, but maybe he was just pushing a little bit too hard.
Which is, again, strange, because he was all alone, but sometimes, as we have here, Jacobs having a little bit of a queue behind him so far, and those guys behind him are the leaders of the GS Open class, being Martineau and Holland. So this will be a little bit of an interesting fight. And speaking about that livery there, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, there we go. Cameron Martineau leading the open standings and taking it to these pro class drivers. Who knows where this series will head into season 16, whether it will be a one-make series, whether we continue with the Mustangs versus the MX-5. The rumors are swirling. Hopefully you'll get well soon for Kevin Ford, though. He won't be racing for the rest of the season. He will hopefully be back in January after having a chat to him during the week. So Forwarding your thoughts, of course. He does so much for this series each week, not only for the broadcast but for the racing too. He produces our track guides each week. But I hope he's enjoying the coverage if he is indeed watching this live. And hopefully see him back here out on the racetrack. But here's Martineau versus Jeff Jacobs heading into the Ravazza curves now. Quite stable there for Martineau and a brilliant move into P4.
And he needed to do that move because you see the time he was losing behind Jacobs made it possible for Holland to come close and almost trying to go for a move on the leader of his class. So now there's one car between himself and Holland. And let's see if the number 80 Mustang, with his beautiful livery, is able to get past Jacobs as well. Fantastic racing, and I love series that can make the class distinctions worth, and work. Not only work but work. And this is one of them for sure. And also I love the Mustang. I don't know how to drive it. I'm a terrible driver all around. As here we go with the lapped cars, but I'm a big fan of the Ford as a in all of the NASCAR, in all of the motorsport competition, and the Mustang. I mean, listen to this, come on, man. I mean, need to stop.
Yeah. Oh, and as you say that, Patrick Prevost gets straight out of the way there. Oh goodness, it was close. So unfortunately for Prevost, they caught him at the worst time, but luckily they've maneuvered their way around Patrick, who we've seen Patrick have better races than this for sure.
I think he made a mistake somewhere. See, it was shown as going off track, so maybe he was moving out of the way of the leaders there.
Yeah, you caught that right, Marco. You saw that was at the Tamburello, the first corner, just a few moments ago. Now this is Vigas versus Shiflett. A change there for the P2 position. Probably team orders between the two. They feel like maybe Vigas is quicker through the second stage of the stint.
Yeah, that was, I think, something that was decided between the pair of them. They will probably and surely be on the radio. And now we'll see if Vigas has something, an answer for the blistering pace of Aeronom as we are heading into the 20th minute of the race in just a couple. And of course it will be more or less time for the pit stops. Vigas and Shiflett will do the same very, very soon. Hartley is still in fourth after his mistake, but as you can see, this top four of the MX-5s in the ST class, they are still very much together. As Vigas makes a bit of a mistake there, we got the back end of it. Maybe, he's struggling a bit. Hopefully, he doesn't have damage. So let's see what happened there as his teammate is getting close to him. Hopefully, there was no contact with another competitor there. Let's see. So we are heading into Villeneuve again, and no, he just went wide, so lost a little bit of rhythm.
Yeah, but only a 1x there for Clint Vigas. No slowdown. You can do that through Villeneuve, and you don't lose too much time. I think one lap even, Marco here, I set the world record in the F3 going off the track there at Villeneuve, so I actually gained time doing that because you actually carry more speed, and the gravel doesn't slow you down as much as the 62 there of Greg Brockway. They caught him at the worst part of the racetrack. Brockway didn't know where to go, and now not sure if he's trying to block the leaders here. Getting a bit frustrated is Greg Brockway, but Shiflett will lose a couple of seconds from that. But back to the lead of our MX-5s, because look at the right-hand side of the screen on the track map. It's so close here between our lead group, between Mike Dam, Schwenke, John Allen, and Robert Hartley. These four are always scrapping for the lead. Would it be nice to see Eric Violet, of course, in this battle too, and DJ Alessandrini if he was racing today. But Alessandrini, like we said, and like he told us post-race during one of the races a few interviews ago, that he would struggle to make all these rounds. But then Lyndall McMurphy leads the second group by only a couple of drivers. Elvis Rankin, the young man, is behind Lyndall McMurphy. Eric Violet's behind that train too. But this is the lead so far. Now, we haven't watched this too much this race, Marco, as we approach the pit stops. But Mike Dam still leading after Robert Hartley's early mistake.
Yes, and the sun is coming out behind the clouds. Now, believe it or not, it has been almost 3 straight weeks of rain here in Italy, in all of the country, so it's actually surprising to see the sun. Let's see a little bit of the weather situation if we can, and I think we will be able to do so. There we go, and see what the situation is right now. And well, track temperature is 24 degrees, so pretty much ideal for these guys. The right temperature, you know, not too cold but not too hot. Ideal, I would say. And air temperature 21. I think these are pretty much ideal racing conditions. Now it remains to be seen how much will the track warm if the sun can stay away from the clouds.
Yeah, exactly. I love Imola in cold conditions. Really suits it. Is it really this cold over in Italy at this time of the year?
Decently cold. Especially, I mean, it's good, but it is it's much colder in other places. But you know, it's especially in the northern part of Italy, it can get very cold. I mean, around 0 Celsius, a little bit below that also some days. But mostly it's the rain these days. It's non-stop.
Well, we'll talk more about Italy in a few moments' time, but we have pit stops coming up for the first time this race and the only time this race. We'll take a quick break here for round 8, season 15 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series on Apex Racing TV. We'll see you on the other side of this. Welcome back to round 8, the penultimate round for season 15 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech SportsCar series, presented by the former Elite Texas Graphics. Welcome to the coverage on Apex Racing TV. Now, if you're joining us, we are approaching our first pit stops for the day, and here's leader Aeronom entering his box. It's a very long pit lane on iRacing, isn't it, Marco Barbanero, who joins me, Jonathan Swan, at the commentary booth for today's action. Now, Aeronom will take right side tyres. We only really see each class take about 2 tyres in their pit stops. It'll be interesting to see if Aeronom takes more than that, but he's still in his box. It looked like only 2 tyres for Aeronom.
Yeah, sadly the pit wall is a bit, as Vigus goes very, very wide, trying to get past that Mazda. Of course, he needs to push as hard as possible to try to overcut at this point the race leader. Martino is also in from, he was sitting in the lead of his class of the GS Open, down to the tarmac once again and back onto the racing surface. So I think whilst we wait for the other drivers to come, we were talking about during the break, we saw something on our monitors. I think a moment for David Payton here, so let's see what happened.
So this is through Villeneuve. Ooh. Wow, that's a hefty incident, and he's right behind his teammate. No! He's collected his teammate. Now, no, Tamburello, excuse me, that is there, Marco. So that was his teammate, and believe it or not, that's Eric Violet, who's in contention for a top championship position.
See, once again, this is on board with Eric. And now you will hear, teammate will disappear, and then bang, straight into it. Not a big hit, but not ideal nonetheless.
No, definitely not. Now, Mike Dam, the Canadian's in the pit lane. Now, this is troubling for Mike Dam. It should only be 2 tyres for the MX-5 of Mike Dam. He's out and away in 21 seconds. Like we said, Imola is one of the longest pit lanes on the iRacing service. When I covered the Supercars E-Series, Marco, it was the longest pit lane we had here. Only an 8-second stop in the Supercar, yet it took 38 seconds from entry to exit with a pit stop. And that's insane.
It is a very, very long pit lane, especially now that they have, I mean, it's been quite a while since they have changed the layout a bit. Careful there, as we have this fight between, I mean, these are, of course, drivers of technically 2 different classes, but of course fighting with the same piece of equipment, the MX-5, so Dam, Andy, you see there, and Allen. So they removed the Variante Bassa, of course, which was there, and was that final chicane just before the start-finish line, as we see this fight once again. So yeah, now the pit lane. Yeah, sure.
Can I jump in? Sorry, Marco. That's an important pass. That's John Allen, who pitted during the ad break. So John Allen now has essentially snatched. Well, he's gotten past the number 5 there of number 45 of Matthew Hendy, I should say. But John Allen here is just a couple of seconds behind Mike Dam. This is for your lead right now.
Oh, look at them. Sorry, it was so
very
sideways there at Piratella. Yeah. Very, very slippery there at Piratella. It was a sideways moment. It's an old school track. It might be been refurbished as of late, but the walls are most of the times very, very close.
You won't receive an off-track through there in iRacing, but it's just way too slippery. I know in the F3, I didn't opt to go out there. I'd take a tighter line because I just felt like it was too risky to put the car out there. Now, I've never driven the MX-5, and it would be nice, and a get well soon, of course, to Tyler Maxson, who's unable to make it here today for the coverage today, but he's quite under the weather. But he's someone who drives the MX-5 in the real world, and he'll tell you the same thing. You don't opt for the slippery line, as we see both Shiflett and Vigus into the pit lane, along with Derek Holland, and these are your overall leaders. There's Derek Holland on screen and the number 80, but these will be quick pit stops. Look at a pit party right now for your GS class.
Everyone is in, almost. The only drivers that will not enter the pits, I guess, will be Jeff Jacobs, who will stop later, and then the guys who stopped already, Ironom, Martino, and that it was someone, Sanchinelli, I think. He was sideways at Variante Alta, and with some big damage to that car. We'll get to that very soon. Let's see how they slot after the pit stops.
Shiplet still ahead of Vargas. So the two teammates out and away together. Oh, this is going to be tough. We're going to have to allow these two MX-5s through the number 98 there. That's brave, isn't it? Of Michael Key in a scrap between himself and Greg Brockway. They're just ahead of these two right now. Vargas will dispose of them soon, along with his teammate Shiplet. Oh, man, I don't like this. 3 wide into Villeneuve will never work, and Michael Key identifies that.
Yeah, need to be super careful there, and the two drivers of the ST go bit wide, but look at that behind them. They are, of course, fighting because they are in their own race. So after all these pit stops, the status quo more or less is the same. We just need to wait for Jeff Jacobs to go in. Martineau and Holland are still first and second in the GS Open class with that order. So Martineau was able to keep the lead. Now we should see Jeff Jacobs go in for his stop. Eric Violet also is in after his collision earlier. As we have another MX-5, that is Sanchinelli trying to get back to the... Well, I should know how to pronounce an Italian name, no, Marco? Making mistakes. But no, Jacobs goes through. So let's see what happened to Edgar there.
Edgar is American, so American pronunciations, we're all for it. Oh, he's had a very tough part of the racetrack. Oh, don't tell me this is lap traffic now.
He already had damage, huh? So...
Oh, wow, he's gone in way too hard. I think that car's going to be written off.
Yeah, he was able to make it home, but look at his steering, which is certainly not pointing where it should. So... Schwenk and Hartley still out there. The pit stops recap. As you can see.
Now, can we discuss this strategy for
these two?
Because
Schwenky with a mistake and losing the lead to Hartley.
Yeah, and there's Robert Hartley being presented a gift there by Travis Schwenke. That's not going to help him during the pit phase. For Hartley, though, he's got no draft now. This would be the right time to pit for Robert Hartley because we know your other two leaders are Mike Dam and John Allen. Have some fresh rubber on the left side. So, on the right side, I should say. And we'll see whether or not they actually sustain the lead over these two. So, we'll keep our eyes on these two and see whether or not Hartley or even Schwenke dive into the box. If Hartley doesn't, if I'm Schwenke, Marco, I would definitely dive into the box.
Yes, especially, you can reset a bit after making that big mistake there, but no, they both stay out. So they will keep on going. And let's see, now this should be the lap where Jeff Jacobs goes in, but I am surprised. I was on the same wavelength as you as Rankin goes in. I was expecting at least one, if not both of them, to go in for different reasons. The draft now missing, and of course the mistake that Schwenke made and a chance to reset, but not being the case, as Jeff Jacobs is back in the pits, and this will give the lead back to Aeronom, as Vigus and Shiflet are still second and third, but now they are a bit behind the leader of their class. So,
now,
as we are already past the halfway mark of this race.
Look at the track map, though. Look where Aeronom is on the bottom left-hand side of the screen. He's approaching Mike Dam and, of course, John Allen ahead. Now, if he laps them, they're going to lose some time. So Hartley right now, last lap round, Robert Hartley set a 2-minute 5.7 as Aeronom claims the lead as Jeff Jacobs in the pit lane. But for Mike Dam, 2-minute 4.1. So you can see he's 1.5 seconds quicker at the moment than Robert Hartley. So I guess for the moment, it's not going to work out too well for Robert Hartley in the pit lane, but I tell you what, it's going to be awfully close.
It certainly. You're right. I think Dam is hoping with all of himself that he gets caught by Nom in a good spot, because he wants to lose as little time as possible, and of course also doesn't want to have to lift so much that maybe Allen can get a move at him. This is going to be an interesting proposition to find, and this I think is what, of course, as here we go, that is the first... Oh no, Nom thinks better of it, of getting past Allen there. This is what maybe they are hoping at the front of the MX-5 field now, what Hartley and Schwenke are hoping. So they're hoping for Dam and other drivers to get caught in some lap traffic shenanigans, and this will be the way they will possibly make the move in the pits.
I understand what you're saying, but look at the track map. There's no one near these two apart from Ira and Om. So Hartley right now, unless himself and Schwenke have something up their sleeve, we'll wait and see. We hope they prove us wrong. But like you said, Ira and Om, all season, Marco, he's been very cautious. Look at that. He's been very cautious lapping cars. I don't think he wants to get in the way of these leaders. He wants to get it done on this main straight. We know the Mustang is a lot quicker in a straight line.
You could hear him lifting as they were heading for Rivazza, which is now he will go for the move. I get at least one, I think both of them indeed. And like you were saying, yes, on the track map now, these two MX-5s especially, we are keeping an eye on the leaders, on the potential leaders of the classes. There is another pit party there with Childs, McMurphy, Torman and Fike going in. There is no one around them, so they might have hit the jackpot. Just wait for your pit stop and go out, and now there is no one that can, apart from themselves, that can slow them down. So let's see what Dam and Allen will do. Certainly they might have gotten the strategy in the right way.
Now we've just passed Villeneuve, and you've been to this racetrack. I was surprised when you told me that they used to have a grandstand there. It's not on iRacing anymore.
A grandstand is a bit of an exaggeration. I think it was one of those temporary stand that
a
you
gazebo?
Can, no, it was. I don't know if you have them, but in Italy we sometimes build these temporary stands for sporting events, and then they are removed at the very end of said sporting event. As we see Schwenke coming in, and who else is coming in with him? As we have a penalty, which I drive-through penalty for car 64 for incident limit violation, and that is
David Payton. So David Payton's in his box right now, or into the pit lane at least. You can see at the bottom of the screen, taking that drive-through penalty, and he's going to service it as soon as possible. Not good for his event, for David Payton, but where will Schwenke feed out in relation to both Mike Dam and, of course, John Allen? Schwenke's still in his box now. He's still stagnant. He's out and away here in 20 seconds, so very critical right now. I don't think he's going to edge ahead of these two. They're going to floor it past him. So right now, Mike Dam and John Allen have a brilliant advantage over Travis Schwenke, but Schwenke has the fresh rubber. I'll tell you what, I might have called that wrong. It's going to be awfully close, but they're ahead right now.
Okay, so back to how it was before then. Very close, of course. I think Schwenke will be able to close the gap on Dam and Allen in the next couple of laps, and then we will have the train once again. Of course, we are waiting for Robert Hartley's pit stop. One thing I can tell you about Imola when I went there, it was that the afternoon before, I went there just for the race on Sunday, and on Saturday it had rained massively in the afternoon after qualifying. So this circuit is located basically inside the city, or the town of Imola, and in an area with lot of grass, lot of hills, and there's of course the Santerno River going past the Tamburello corner there. So it was so muddy and slippery. I mean, logistic nightmare. As here we go, Hartley goes in. Beautiful experience, terrible race, of course, because it was 2002. But I mean, I'm lucky. Lucky. I can say that at least once in my life I experienced the V10 engines live.
Man, the only time I've ever got to experience it is the two-seaters. You know, the two-seater Minardi they run at the Australian Grand Prix sometimes. That's just so thrilling to hear. Even watching F1 back when I went in like 08, 09, 2010, even the engines then were quite thrilling as we see Hartley now take right side tires. I don't think he'll opt for left side tires, but we'll wait and see. Bit of fuel to the Excite racing car of Robert Hartley. Now, what's happened there?
Penalty?
He's exited his box.
No.
Now, I don't think it's a penalty. Yeah. I think he's exited too early. He hasn't taken enough fuel, maybe.
That, or maybe he was doing some repairs, even though I don't think he had some contact. He had a little bit of an hesitation. Maybe he stole this car temporarily, you know, maybe he's using the H pattern shifter and he forgot to press his clutch. Whatever the case, might have been a costly mistake, and if he underfueled his car, he needs to save in these last 20 minutes by staying behind his opponents and save as much as possible. So let's keep an eye on this fight. Dam, Allen, Schwenke and Hartley, your top 4 in the ST class. Leader of the ST Open right now. You can see in 5th place Elvis Rankin, and is 2nd in class. Lyndon McMurphy just behind number 54. So this is another close battle that I think will go to the wire.
Yep, Rankin best of the rest right now in that Lil King Racing number 54 MX5. And in this battle with Lyndon McMurphy, who, tell you what, Lyndon McMurphy all race has driven quite well. We haven't watched Lyndall that much at Imola for round 8, but off the screen I've been just keeping a track of Lyndall, and one of the best races this season for McMurphy. But like we said now, the battle for the lead is back to how it was before the pit stops. Here's John Allen as we ride on board with him, heading through Acqua Minerale. What does that mean in Italian again?
Mineral water, or well, in the acqua minerale means mineral water. Acque minerali, the name of the corner, means basically a spring of water which rich in minerals. So I suppose there's a spring there. I have no idea. I've never been to this part of the track.
Well, hopefully I visit Imola sometime soon. The fascinating thing I find about this track, we're going to get there soon, is even laser scanned on iRacing is the Senna Memorial for Ayrton Senna, who unfortunately passed away here in 1994. They even have that laser scan with the Brazilian flags on both the inside and the outside of the exit of the Tamburello.
Absolutely. Beautiful place there, touching place. Of course, this is sadly the thing that I think Imola is mostly remembered nowadays. Too bad that the big time motorsport doesn't visit here anymore, along as Allen still going for the move, but good defending there from Dam. You have to be careful when you defend, because point in case, those speed bumps are treacherous. There are also plenty of them in Monza. It's something that we love in Italy apparently, and they can send your car flying. As look who's behind these guys, Shiflet and Vigus, also making their way through lap traffic. Mike Tam completely sideways coming out of Villeneuve. Absolutely crazy. This is going to be a fantastic... They have been a little bit more calm in the beginning of the race, but I think these MX-5s will put on some fireworks in this last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, what a cracking end to this race this is going to be. As we watch Shiflet now make his way past Hartley. Hartley doesn't want to receive a penalty for ignoring blue flags. Now this could benefit Robert Hartley. He just needs to remain close here to these three. Hartley's lost a bit of time, but I don't think, and this is smart from Hartley, you know, get away with not letting Vigus through Acqua Minerale and hope Vigus passes you here without losing much time. Schwenke's got to be careful because you don't want to receive a penalty for ignoring blue flags.
Hartley out of the way.
Bouncing over the curbs.
Let's see now how they could be overtaken here. Down to Rivazza, let's see. Schwenke moves out of the way. Here comes Vigus as well. Very deep on the brakes. Almost contact with his teammate.
Oh, that's thrilling right there. Hartley and Schwenke technically teammates this season, even though Schwenke's in a dual team role with Asprey Motorsports, of course, too. So Schwenke and Hartley will hopefully work together, and that's why you've seen both those guys go long on strategy. This could be a change for the lead here between Mike Dam and John Allen. Allen here up the inside, heading into the Tamburello, should snatch the lead away from the Canadian, who's searching for that championship lead coming out of round 8 and into the final round, and that's Allen confirmed into P1.
Fantastic use of lap traffic, or well, of lapping traffic, I should say, by John Allen. He was able to profit 100% from this, and for his efforts, he gets the lead. Great move. I love smart driving in traffic, not only when you are lapping, but also when you are being lapped, which is such an underrated part of racing. But good move there, and now of course Dam, Schwenke, Hartley will push super hard As you can see, very, very busy are the guys in second and third overall, trying to get past these MX-5s.
Wow, have a look at this right now. There's the 98 of Michael Key. He's also a lapped car, so he's not in this lead battle right now, Michael Key. And Mr. Key gets out of the way. Or I'll tell you what, doesn't get out of the way, heading into Acqua Minerale right now. Schwenke having to take a very tight line through here. You can receive a slowdown if you go progressively out wide. Now, a tactic I use through Acqua Minerale here, Marco, is you take a tactical off track. So if you're not going to receive the bonus points and you're not at risk of getting a penalty, you just take a deliberate off track to gain maybe a tenth of a second and make a pass on someone.
It is a very good strategy, especially in league competition. I mean, I always thought that in league competition, your off tracks are like a little bag, and you can use them wisely, spread out throughout the race. And in some tracks, certainly what you are saying is true. There's these tactical off tracks which can make you go faster. My favorite one is the final corner of Summit Point, which if you go a little bit wider, especially with my favorite road car, the Skippy, you can get a massive launch. Sometimes it's the only way you can pass someone, but you have to use those off tracks wisely. These guys, I think, have 17, just like in most of the racing official series. And of course, if you exceed that limit, you get tagged with a penalty, like David Payton had. And of course, if you get a drive-through penalty, you cannot stop to take service. So it is certainly, especially in a 1 hour race, going to impact you deeply.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, John Allen hasn't won a race this season. He did win one in season 14, don't forget. So this will break the drought in season 15 if he can sustain this advantage over Mike Dam. And, of course, Schwenke and Hartley. Now, I'm not too experienced in the MX-5, Marco, but... Oh, as we watch McMurphy here make his way past... that's Elvis Rankin in a 54. This is for the best of the rest here. What's happened to Rankin?
Slowdown, I think, is... They say that if you go left, right, you can maybe get rid of a slowdown quicker. I'm very slow, so I cannot confirm on that. But certainly made a mistake and got a slowdown.
Normally, I don't want to sound arrogant, but normally I would have figured that out by now in iRacing. But that's an awesome trick. I'm going to try that out straight away as soon as we leave this broadcast. There's John Allen coming through the Variante Alta with a, well, I mean, look at that. That's a 1 second advantage at the moment on the timing screens over Mike Dam. Just under a second. There's Jeff Jacobs in the 38 Mustang lapping the leaders right now. And I tell you what, though, why aren't Schwenke and Hartley gaining on fresher rubber compared to Allen and Dam? I know the MX-5 in terms of tires, the tire wear here, they aren't F1 Pirellis for sure, but I would have expected with some fresher rubber, they would have been able to make their way past these guys.
We'll have to see, maybe it's because of the big chaos that these drivers have been involved as of late, because of all the Mustangs, not only that, also the MX-5s, the slower MX-5s they had to pass or be passed by. And looking at the track map, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of respite for these guys. There's a long train of cars coming, not all together, a bit scattered. So let's see, they really need a bit of clean track if they want to make these two fresher tires work with in this final. I mean, we are already in the final 10 minutes of the race, so if they want to do something, they have to do it now. As Allen uses a little bit of that grass there coming out of Tosa, which is good enough. But now Mike Dam, all of a sudden, thanks to his speed and to the traffic, from 1 second down to 0.3 of a second for the lead.
Yeah, but it's very close right now. Mike Dam on that slippery exit, wasn't it, there at Peratella? And Mike Dam searching for yet another win this season. Mike Dam comes into this round with 3 wins. He's tied with Robert Hartley for the most wins this season. We ride on board with the Canadian as they head over to the Variante Alta chicane yet another time in this race. There's less than 10 minutes remaining. Look at the run he gets out of the chicane, and he's going to have the slipstream here. Now, I don't think he can make the move into Ravazza, but definitely on the main straight.
See, of course, the MX-5 really sensitive to the draft. Doesn't go for the move there. The Canadian clips the apex at Rivazza 1, very wide, then Rivazza 2, careful of the off track there, and now is to push super hard on the front stretch.
Let's have a listen to Mike Dam as he searches to reclaim that lead.
Here we go.
Boom! Up the inside he goes, and I think he's got it. Have a look at Hartley behind too on his teammate Schwenke.
Great pass. Beautiful move. Schwenke stays third, but more importantly, Mike Dam is your new leader in the MX-5, the Street Tuner class.
And they managed to do that without losing too much time. If they go alongside each other here, they're going to lose time in comparison to the two Excite racing cars behind. Mike Dam pushing to the limit. They're all off the racetrack through the exit of Villeneuve as they dip two wheels into the gravel and now throwing it into the uphill braking zone of Tosa Corner, turn 7. Poor run for John Allen. And look at Schwenke now. He's going to have to draft from Mike Dam ahead. Will Schwenke make the move into P2? How about Hartley to follow behind?
Bit of a struggle there from Allen after losing the lead. He seems a little bit on the edge of grip. Now from first to third. Now possibly in line for an overtake by Robert Hartley.
Marco, I'm losing my voice, man. Shut those windows. get your Italian yelling going. Oh man, I don't think I can last the next 7 minutes, but we'll see if the race is going to continue like this. There's John Allen with a mistake. That's going to be a slowdown, I think. Surely a slowdown through the exit.
If he's lucky, he only gets 1x there, but you know, it's
no
slowdown. He got very lucky. Travis Schwenke is lost a little bit of grip. Little bit of time compared to these guys. I mean, it's getting late here as well. I mean, you are enjoying the siesta, no? Post lunch. Here is almost time to go and have some breakfast. Whatever the case, most important thing is not to wake up my dog, because then she gets very angry. But apart from that, Dam Hartley, Allen and Schwenke, with Dam pulling away now, 0.8 of a second, but I think just as soon as these guys sort themselves out, they will be able to catch back to him. Allen seemed to be able to stop his bad sequence of laps right now, and maybe try to get back into good rhythm, try to close the gap with the guys in front. As we are heading into the final 6 minutes of this race, as Ironom, you can see him all alone in the lead, 27 seconds over Tyler Shiflett. In front of his teammate Clint Vigus in third, Jeff Jacobs for Street Survival is in fourth, and the leader of the GS Open is Cameron Martineau in the Street Tuner. Well, here we go with Mike Dam, Hartley, Allen and Schwenke, your top 5, and the leader of the ST Open, Elvis Rankin, in P15 overall.
Yeah, very close to Lyndon McMurphy. Those two are in a nice squabble for the Open win here, and best of the rest for your pro class, because these top 4 are in a class of their own all season. Would have loved to see where DJ Alessandrini would have been had he been racing here today, but we're right on board with the American of John Allen as we head to the Ravazza curves yet another time. Now Schwenke's on the radio here just saying a few things. Schwenke maybe possibly trying to get in the head of the drivers ahead, having a bit of fun. Travis Schwenke's a good dude. But with 5 minutes to go now, it's all focus. And there's another penalty for David Payton down the rear end of the order for exceeding the incident limits.
Yes, violation number 2, another drive-through penalty for him on the start-finish line. Once again, just 5 minutes left, Jonathan, in this race, so it is now or never, more or less, for these drivers. But of course, we know the way it works in the Street Tuner. It's usually never over until the last lap. Oh, careful there with the Mustang trying to make its way through. Cameron Martineau, of course, having to defend the lead of his class. He's got 5 seconds over Derek Holland, so he should be in the safe. You see Holland in the back end of the shot there, but you want to be safe 100%, you don't want to lift. So now he's split this battle up just a bit. Let's see how quickly he will get rid of Dam and Hartley.
Now, I'll tell you what, Schwenke could have been on the radio to Cameron Martineau here in the 31 Mustang, trying to tell him where to go past. And right now, Mike Dam, this is going to be hair-raising. This is personal right now between Mike Dam and Robert Hartley. 6 points the championship lead for Robert Hartley coming into this round. Mike Dam wants the win. You can see how close he is to the rear end of the Mustang. He doesn't want to give up any time here in the closing stages of this race.
Tell you what, after... yeah.
Go on. No, sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying that after Holland, they should have a bit of clean track to fight out until the end, these MX5 guys, hopefully, because I want to see how the race goes out. As Schwenke is down to...
he's through. Was Schwenke always in third? Did he just make that pass heading into the Variante Alta? I could be wrong here.
He did.
But to begin this lap, for sure. Yeah, I was going to say to begin this lap, Schwenke was fourth. So here he goes. Brilliant run coming out of there. Now, is that a brilliant run from Schwenke or a mistake from Allen?
I think a little bit of both. Of course, when you go wide there at the exit of the Acqua Minerali corner, second one, you can get an off track. Okay, but if you go a bit too wide on that AstroTurf stuff there, you can get a slowdown there. So he said maybe get the off track but avoid the slowdown. But of course, you also lost the position. And do you know, I'm a track marshal. I'm a corner worker, of course. Not
lovely.
And the way we call amongst ourselves the AstroTurf, the runoff area there, very popular in F1 tracks, but not only there. Fittingly, because this has been the San Marino Grand Prix for a lot of time, we call it San Marino because it's not Italy.
Yeah, technically you're right.
Yeah,
it's Italy. How does that work? I don't understand how that works.
The runoff area is San Marino. I mean, so if a driver goes wide and then maybe use it for a pass, well, he went out of bounds. So lovely little town is San Marino. Absolutely beautiful. Not far away from here, by the way.
Oh, look at it. Sorry, while you're saying that, I thought Schwenke was going to pull off a move on his teammate.
Yeah,
he
thought about
town.
it.
Yeah, for sure. I got to fly out here. You got to fly me out one day, Marco. We got to watch some. Well, there's no more Formula One here. I hope they do return here, though.
Yes, it's. I mean, this part. Again, after my own town, my own city, this is my favorite part of Italy because of the food, because of the Schwenke goes wide, because of the landscape, the beautiful places, beautiful. Landscapes, whatever. So, and San Marino is not that far away, like I said. So here we go. There. Oh! Someone missed his braking marker, and Allen is that him? Yes. Went very, very wide, and he's out of contention for the win. Let's see now, because it's a fantastic run from Hartley, I think, to go for the lead, as we are 30 seconds away from the end of this race.
This is for the lead right now. Aeronom is only a few corners away from winning this race overall, but this is the battle for the win here as they begin the final lap. Robert Hartley versus Mike Dam, the personal battle for the championship with 2 rounds to go. Hartley into the lead for the first time.
Oh, sideways, he's sideways.
Oh no, he's collected his teammate. Hartley, that car's damaged. It's done. Schwenke's into the wall too. 2 retirements on the final lap for your Excite Racing team. That is the worst they could have possibly hoped for. But for Aeronom, he's coming through the final couple of corners now. And he's only got 2 more corners to confirm himself champion of champions yet again here for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series. What a victory it's been for Aeronom. He had to work for it, but he will be champion for GS, your Mustangs, for season 15.
Fantastic stuff from Aeronom. Once again, he confirms himself as the driver to beat in this championship, and once again he wins. Dramatic finish. In the MX5 will go through that very, very soon. But first, let's see how the race in the GS will pan out to complete the podium. Looks like, oh, Vigus is
Did Vigus
sideways.
spin?
Good save there. Almost crashing, and so it will be
Oh.
Shiflet in second, and Vigus will be your third placed driver, about to win as Jacobs finishes fourth, and about to bring home the win in GS Open will be Cameron Martineau. Here he comes. Beautiful car, as we've said plenty of times tonight, and he will be the winner. Let's see the end of the race in the ST. Here we go, straight away. Dam wins. Beautiful, dramatic finish. Too bad, because I really wanted to see this for fight out until the final flag, but congratulations to McDam. Fantastic victory.
And for Robert Hartley, that's critical that he crosses the line in third, because otherwise he would have lost that championship lead heading into the final round, that 90-minute endurance event at Daytona. For Elvis Rankin, he will take the win for the open class, and a brilliant fourth place finish for the young Elvis Rankin in that Little King racing car. And how about a brilliant result for Lyndall McMurphy? Hats off to Lyndall McMurphy, who drove ever so splendidly in that number 63 MX-5. Now, we're going to watch a replay of the final lap shenanigans here into the Tamburello. And, I tell you what, Hartley's going to regret that. His teammate out of the event. Oh, and his teammate almost collected Mike Dam there.
Get another replay of that.
Look at Schwenke behind here. Mike Dam was about half a second slower, he would have been collected by Schwenke in the 16.
Oh, you are absolutely right. Wow, that was so close to being a disaster. It was a disaster for two of the four drivers, but in the end, Mike Dam prevailed, as we are just waiting for... well, in fact, we are waiting for my input, because here we go with the final race results for this beautiful, beautiful race in Imola. Here we go.
Well, here are the final race results on screen. And Eero Nom, our winner, we will speak to him in about a minute's time for our post-race interviews. But the Estonian is champion of the world yet again here for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech SportsCar Series. He wins by 30 seconds out of Shiflet and Vigus. Vigus, with that last corner spin, could have potentially lost that podium position to Jeff Jacobs. So that was a heart-sinking moment almost for Vigus. He certainly would have had quite a fright there in that Mustang. And you can see the rest of the order. Martineau wins the open class. Lucas Ford rounded out our 10-car field. And then winner for our ST Pro class was Mike Dam, the Canadian. Now, I don't think it's going to be close. I don't think he's claimed the championship lead ahead of Robert Hartley. It'll be awfully close. It was 6 points coming into this round. We don't know how bonus points are. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if they are tied for the championship lead heading into the final round. That's how close it is for the moment. John Allen, with one of his best results all season in second. He had some Bathurst form, didn't he, earlier on in our campaign. But he wasn't able to claim his first race win of the season. It's almost going to be a drought for him if he can't claim it at Daytona for the one and only time this campaign. And then Robert Hartley, unfortunately for his teammate Travis Schwenke, he ended up becoming he was classified, but technically a DNF, because he did not take the checkered flag at the end of the race. But Rankin ended up winning our open class ahead of Lyndall McMurphy. Good race for those two. For Eric Violet, a race to forget. His championship challenge is essentially over after that result, but he brings home teammates Chris Thorman and Bobby Childs, the D2D esports team. We've seen better races from them in the past, but I'll tell you what, though, at least it was consistent for those three. Geordie Fike, Mr. George Fike himself, in the other Asprey Motorsports car, ended up 19th overall, ahead of Schwenke, who was classified 20th. So he'll still gain some points, but his championship challenge is almost essentially over too. So not a good race for those guys. And believe it or not many DNFs from this race either. You can see at the screen, Edgar Sancinelli, I think, was our only DNF. Now, was there someone in 29th? Jacob Beasley, excuse me, remember. Beasley was having a good race. So only those two DNF from this race. Race marshal, not a driver,
No,
but we wish that would be a very cool name had that been a real driver. But Marco, I think it's time to bring in Aero Nom, our first interview for the day.
absolutely is all yours.
And Aero Nom, we can confirm yet again. Now, last season we got this wrong by a race, but now we can finally confirm you are champion of the world yet again for the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series for season 15, and a championship you've currently clean swept at the moment. But I tell you what, it was your toughest race so far in round 8 after such a poor start.
Oh yeah, usually the first laps in my setup is very slow, so that was very close in the beginning. But once the tire pressures came up, it was much easier.
But you're champion yet again. Good feeling, of course, as usual. You know, slightly easier this season. But I tell you what, though, Aero, any championship feels good for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was a little bit easier, much easier when Kevin didn't show up, sadly. But in the beginning, it was pretty close with Kevin at some times.
And what's made this championship for you over the past few seasons? How are you so quick in these cars? Any tips you can give out to young sim racers out there? Anybody else trying to replicate your just awesome dominance in not only this series and the Mustang, but anywhere else you sim race?
Nah, it's always the easiest answer. It's the practice, nothing else, and find your setup that suits for you.
But ironically, you say practice. You haven't done much this this season before the races.
Yeah, but I'm so used to this car, so I don't need much
Yeah.
practice. And today, pretty much the quali was my practice. I went out with race setup and race fuel.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. Exactly. And I did notice that because you were on pole by, was it less than a tenth of a second, I think?
Oh yeah, 300s, I think.
Yeah, it was awfully close. So finally, who gets it done for you in that Team Bushwink car? A lot of people to thank for yet again. How many championships is this in this sports car series?
I'm not exactly sure, but I think I won every championship since I joined. So
Mm.
it's been years. But
Yeah, feel free to thank whoever you want need
I,
to.
I would like to thank all the team sponsors and the league admins again. Nice job. All the drivers today again. Traffic was perfect, no issues. So yeah, and I'd like to thank you guys in the booth.
So that's Aero Nom, champion again, Marco, and a championship to remember for sure. He's just driven ever so splendidly. We'll leave you to it, Aero, and hopefully see you at Daytona in a couple of weeks' time. But he's just been so dominant this season, and it'll be awesome to clean sweep the championship. And the closest drivers I've seen to doing it, I mean, I think Marc Marquez in 2014. Don't forget. Michael Schumacher, remember, was it 02? He started the season with so many wins, but it's almost never happened in the world of motorsport.
I mean, this kind of I always go about this because he's a fantastic driver, and basically I have the luck to commentate on another series on Wednesday nights. And there we have a driver who won every race we did this season that he took part in. He only skipped one round out of 12. So won 11 races on the trot. Sorry, won 11 out of 12. So I mean, uh, when you have this kind of dominance, it's you can tip your hat and say fantastic, and certainly good for the other drivers to have a benchmark to to fight against. So congratulations, Zero, once again. Enjoy your championship.
Yeah, thanks. See you next time.
So we'll leave here and on to it. For now, though, we will drag Mike Dam in, our winner for your ST class today. Mike Dam, I think you may be tied for the championship lead. It's not all calculated for the moment, but it's going to be awfully close between yourself and Robert Hartley. But mate, have you recovered? I'm still trying to recover my voice and my breathing after that final lap. It was insane.
Yeah, yeah, it was definitely a pretty close race overall, leading up to the finish. But I knew it was going to get intense the last couple laps, and I could tell by the deltas leading up to the last lap. I knew it was going to be a tough one. I really didn't think I had it. I thought Rob was going to get a really good run into that first corner there, and unfortunately, he had a spin there. Otherwise, I think I would have been done.
We noticed that if you were half a second slower, I think Schwenke would have even collected you, obviously unintentionally, but that's how much chaos was there through the Tamburello through that final lap. So glad you avoided the incident. And a bit of drama between those two. We're not going to get to speak to them post-race, unfortunately, and I'm sure they want to avoid I'm sure they want to let that incident slide and people to forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, that was an opportunity for Travis to pass both of us there, and so I mean, a lot of things just kind of went my way at the end there. I really didn't think I had a chance with the run I got, but yeah, great drive by all those guys. These guys are really good. They have really good racecraft. They're really fast drivers, so it's really difficult to pull a win off.
And with strategy, can I ask quickly, you pitted really early in comparison to the Excite Racing cars. Now, why in the closing stages of the race did they not pull you in as quickly? Is the tire wear not as dramatic here?
Um, I could. I mean, it is. There are a lot of fast sweepers in this course, and it is really a lot about balance and just being able to get your turn in right. So I mean, taking maybe I took left sides or right sides. That kind of unbalances your car a little bit, and maybe I don't know, but I mean, they had 7 laps fresher tires by the end, and I could feel it in the slow hairpins. Like they were gaining time on it. It was just I was almost a little bit lucky that with the traffic that we had and they got some slowdowns and stuff. I was able to stay in the lead as long as I could really tell Rob was really had a fast car at the end, and it just lucky enough to pull that off.
Heading into Daytona, obviously, I don't think you'll be thinking championship too much. I think yourself, as experienced as you are, you'll be thinking, okay, same routine as usual. Head into Daytona. It's not a special race at all. Just trying to get the job done, win the race, and then the championship will come.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, points wise, I mean, it's going to be really close. It's going to be a few points. If I'm gonna make life hard on Rob, if he's gonna, he's not gonna get by me easy. So
Most certainly. Who gets it done for you in that Cryptogy Orange Racing Team car?
just all the guys that are part of this league, they make it what it is. It's great. And the admins, Kevin and Jeff, for putting this on. Unfortunately, Kevin isn't able to be the last couple of weeks. He's just dealing with a couple issues. So yeah, just kudos to him and just to everyone involved and you guys for broadcasting us.
Yeah, most certainly. So that's Mike Dam claiming yet another win this season. 4 wins to his name, Marco, and possibly the championship lead once all points are calculated. But he currently has the tiebreak on wins on Robert Hartley. But Marco, for yourself, you'll be stood alongside John Allen, who came home in P2.
Absolutely, John. Welcome to the broadcast booth.
Thanks. Hello, guys.
So it was quite a tough race, interesting race there at the front of the MX5 of the ST field. Tell us about your race.
Well, sim racing though it is, it's not without some mechanical challenges and some things unique to sim racing. I realized right at the start of the race, even late in qualifying, that my gas pedal wasn't recognizing 100% unless I absolutely crushed it down with my foot. And so I spent most of the race trying to hang on to the draft with 97% or whatever it was giving me, and opportunistic at the end. So that worked out. And the sim specific challenge was a dog that really needed to go to the bathroom and was pawing at me the whole race. So that was its own separate thing. But yeah, lucky to not get cut off in the final lap incident. Still a little frustrated. Second's great, especially in this group of super fast guys. But thought I had a win in me just from running an 02.9 and clean air, clean lap before qualifying at the end of practice, and I just couldn't with the technical difficulty. I couldn't replicate anything close to it.
So, what was your view on that final lap incident? Were you able to avoid it without any kind of trouble? Were you almost involved because it was very sudden and very very violent?
I had just a car length or two more time than Travis to pick a line and try and find a clean way through, and I think that made the difference. He was kind of stuck too close to figure out exactly which way Robert might spin. And from my view, I was sure that Robert was going to get Mike as well, and somehow stayed out of him. But the resulting, tank slap got Travis. So in the end, it was good to be where I was and have a little more time to get through cleanly.
One more round left, of course. What are your feelings as you approach the Daytona final round of the season?
Well, I believe it's a 90-minute race. I have, I think, probably the best winning percentage by far in the 2 pit stop races of all the regulars. I really thrive on those. So hopefully I can pull something out again. And I honestly don't know where that will put me on points. Now that I'm a veteran of this league, it's just, I have fun regardless where I finish. These guys race so clean and fast, and I don't even look at the points anymore. And I'm happy if I wind up on the podium at season's end.
Well, perfect, John. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, definitely happy to be getting a podium with a new, relatively new livery. Just the second or third time I've run this Defined Auto Works livery as a tribute to a very fast RX-7 owned by a friend of mine that helped build my first race car. So wanted to get it some screen time tonight. That worked out very well, and thanks to Bobby Childs for painting that and making it look so good.
Thank you very much, John. Congratulations once again on the podium, and we'll catch you in Daytona.
Thanks, guys.
I think it's time to drag our final interview for the day. And it is Elvis Rankin who wins the open class. Elvis, we got you there. We're not sure if you're still there. If I messaged him earlier, so I don't think he saw my message. So we'll.
It is.
Well, Elvis is here, surely. You got you, Elvis?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was in drivers the post race, but I'll pop in for a little bit.
No, you're right. You're okay, all good. I thought you were in for an interview. But anyway, you won the open class. Now, I don't know if that's your first open
Thank you.
class win, but congratulations nevertheless.
Thank you. We've been racking them up all season, and this one was a little tougher than the other ones, but it felt good right at the end.
Surely you're going to have a go at possibly World Championship sim racing for 2020. And if not, you're just going to keep getting better, are you? Maybe even 2021 World Championship sim racing.
Exactly. That's hopefully, maybe sometime.
And what makes you so quick in this MX-5? So how many hours are you putting in per day? Or are you too scared to reveal that because people might think you got too much time in your hands? Because you're just getting better each round, mate. You're doing so well.
Yeah, I definitely put in a lot of time. I can't thank John Allen. He's taken me through the ropes, and I'm kind of learning a lot from him, and I've been running better week by week. I think a big thanks to all the whole league and everyone who puts it on, Kevin, Jeff, the admins. They all make this possible, and thank you.
All right, we'll leave you to it, Elvis, because we've got to wrap up here quickly. But we'll see you hopefully at Daytona in a couple of weeks' time for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
So there's Elvis Rankin, winner, Marco, in your open class. But for us, it's time to wrap up here. Now, our next race, of course, we'll cover the GT round next week for the Extreme Motorsports GT Series, the Ricmotech GT Series. But in 2 weeks' time, it's the season finale from Daytona for the SportsCar Series presented by Performer Elite Texas Graphics. And that's our final of 2 90-minute endurance races this season. So quite looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Cannot wait. It's been great to once again be able to commentate and broadcast this series. Great to have finally been able to work with you, Jonathan. So it was a beautiful, beautiful evening, night, early morning, whatever.
Oh, it's been everything for you, hasn't it? It's over in Europe for the moment. For me, though, it's been the ideal time of the day, the afternoon. But for now, it's the ideal time to wrap up this broadcast. Segue 100% intended. And we will say so long from the Apex Racing TV commentary booth. That race, of course, like we said, will be in 2 weeks' time on the 9th of December. And all coverage will begin on Apex Racing TV, of course, as usual, at 1:15 a.m. GMT. So check your local time zones for when that event will begin. But from myself, Jonathan Simon, from Marco Barbanero alongside me in commentary and production, and from our entire Apex Racing TV crew, we will say so long from the Autodromo Enzo e Dino Ferrari from Imola, Ironome, our champion, Mike Dam versus Robert Hartley heading into the final round for our ST Championship. Who's it going to be? We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Woo!